Denver. I'm going to give you a little bit of background about myself. I was born in Denver. I was born right here at St. Joe's Hospital. I'm a third generation DPS alumni. My parents and grandparents all went to West High School. I graduated from Abraham Lincoln High School in 1975 and really feel like my education in Denver Public Schools was fabulous. The teachers were exceptional. The principals were leaders of the school that the teachers and the staff in the school building respected. The children really were there to learn. Certainly we were there to socialize as well, even as youngsters. But our message was loud and clear that we were there to learn, and teachers were there to teach and mentor us, and they did. 31 years ago, I met who is now my husband, Wayne Butkovich. He is a 37-year retired DPS teacher / principal, and he spent most of his career where? At West High School. So it's kind of in my blood, this whole West High School thing. I grew up in Southwest Denver. He could have actually been a teacher of mine because he is quite a bit older than me. But many of his friends, when we started dating, were my former teachers. And I have seen the evolution of destruction in public education. We had our son is 21 years old, we have one son. He's currently a senior at CU Boulder. And when he was 3 years old, I became very involved in the reopening of Southmore Elementary as a traditional neighborhood school. Southmore Elementary School was home to Rocky Mountain School for Expeditionary Learning. And gosh, a lot of us in the neighborhood really didn't have an issue with Rocky Mountain School for Expeditionary Learning. We just wanted our children to have a traditional neighborhood public school experience. So there were 12 people. None of us knew each other going into this. We're all lifelong friends now, but we were very successful in relocating Rocky Mountain School for Expeditionary Learning to Ash Grove, the building that used to be Ash Grove. Southmore is a flourishing school. About the time our son Nicholas hit 8th grade, I have always been really involved. I was never involved before I had a son. You know, that was Wayne's job, and I had my career, and we would talk, but you know, it was not on my radar. But became highly involved and active and an advocate for public education, and about the time he was in 8th grade, I started seeing the privatization going on right in our own backyard with neighborhood schools. And so I went from an advocate to an activist. And when Happy spoke earlier about the Denver Plan 2020, I want to point out to you one fact. The Denver Plan targets underserved, low-income minority communities, closes their neighborhood schools, and brings in private charter schools. Currently, right now, we have 71 charter schools in the Denver Public Schools. We have 7 charter schools in Southeast Denver, but more are probably coming. I advocate for strong neighborhood public schools in every community. They need to be the center of the community. They were when I was growing up. They were when my son was growing up, and that is changing. And I take offense to that. If great things were going on in Denver Public Schools, I would not be running. My opponent would be, getting her seat. Great things are not going on in Denver Public Schools. Just want to say one thing. Robert had addressed the opportunity gap. There is an opportunity gap. Since 2011, between white and black students, just in the subject of math, the opportunity gap is 47%. With Hispanic students, it's 40%. So graduation rates are rising, but remediation rates are rising. 42% of our high school graduates that go on to college require remediation. We're doing our children a disservice. We're not educating them. We need to get back to respecting teachers. Last May, with a 6-to-1 vote, our Board of Education fired 200 teachers and labeled 80 of them do not rehire, in McCarthy styleism. So I support teachers. I am endorsed by CEA, DCTA, DCTA retired, Denver Area Labor Federation, and I am here to ask for your support and your vote. And now I'll take questions.
Time for a question or two? Okay.
Okay, I can't stay because I'm off campaigning, but thank you all, and I'll see a lot of you tonight.